Good evening and welcome to this Advective weather video. Unfortunately, a dangerous situation is developing across the Midwestern United States this evening, with 3 out of 5 enhanced risk areas in effect from the Storm Prediction Center. One, including the Chicago metro area and portions of southeastern Wisconsin, much of northern and northeastern Illinois, and northwestern Indiana. The second enhanced risk region runs from eastern Missouri through to southwestern Ohio, including much of northern Kentucky, southern Illinois, and southern Indiana. Both enhanced risk regions include the threat of strong, damaging, and potentially life-threatening tornadoes. The Storm Prediction Center earlier put out a mesoscale discussion explicitly mentioning the potential for EF2 to EF3 tornadoes with winds between 120 and 150 miles an hour. Now, those storms are capable of causing considerable damage to homes, with the upper end of that range being able to sweep away weaker houses. If you are in the risk region, you need to have a way to receive warnings, especially since these dangerous storms will be happening mainly after sunset. You won't be able to see them coming in almost all likelihood, so please don't try. Have a way to receive warnings. Pay attention to local news channels, meteorologists, local National Weather Service office, which there are many involved in this, so unfortunately won't be able to go into closer detail. It's just too spread out, unfortunately. But the threat of damaging tornadoes will continue after midnight for that southern area along the Ohio Valley. Plenty of people have gone to sleep before the threat ends, which means you need to have a way to be woken up in the event a damaging tornado is moving towards your home. Far better to lose a few hours sleep than to risk losing your life to a tornado. Now, as well as that very significant tornado threat, very large hail is also expected, primarily in that northern enhanced risk region, but it is possible in the southern risk area as well. And this is likely to be in excess of 2 inches in some storms, the greatest chances in the northern risk region, which includes the Chicago metro area. You should take action now to protect vulnerable objects outside, such as car windscreens, glass furnishings, any delicate ornaments, or other things outside. And of course, you should secure loose objects such as trampolines so that they don't blow away in storms. On that note, damaging wind gusts up to hurricane force will also be possible through the southern risk area, primarily in that southern enhanced risk region. Now, putting some cities on the map, you can see that the slight risk extends out to Cleveland in the east and does include Cincinnati, Louisville, Paducah in the southern enhanced risk region. St. Louis only in a marginal risk, as is Springfield. That's good. But Charleston, West Virginia, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and even parts of far western New York in a marginal risk. Now, that's not a tornado risk. The tornado risk stops at the eastern edge of the slight risk tonight, but severe weather still possible all the way out into those states. And of course, we can't forget Michigan, where a tornado risk does exist. Going into more detail on that, there are the 2 yellow regions where the strongest tornadoes are most likely, but that is only a likelihood. Strong tornadoes are indeed possible outside of the yellow areas in the slight or marginal risks, and we have seen this on a number of occasions where the environment is similar to tonight. Storms that we think don't have enough oomph to put down a strong tornado produce a significantly damaging or even violent tornado outside of the primary risk area, which is why it is only a likelihood rather than a guarantee. Anyone in the 2% risk region, which is the green, and especially the brown and yellow, the 5 and 10% risk areas, need to be paying close attention to the weather tonight. And once again, you do need a way to receive warnings such that it will wake you up if you are asleep, so that you can take the necessary action to protect yourselves and others in your household. There is the aforementioned severe wind risk, stretching from eastern Missouri through to Ohio, same areas in the tornado risk broadly, but extending slightly farther east, getting a bit closer to Columbus. And that's for the risk of up to hurricane force wind gusts. Finally, here is the significant hail threat, and you can see everywhere in that hatched risk could see hail greater than 2 inches in diameter. Once again, as per the tornadoes, damaging wind gusts and large hail is possible outside of those highlighted areas, but they are most likely in those regions, especially in the red areas. Now, lastly, a look at the models, and as you can see, shortly after this video is published, storms will really get going across northern Illinois, and unfortunately they look likely to track straight through the Chicago metro area with the threat of strong tornadoes and very large hail with those storms. Then they will move across Lake Michigan, but they could move into Michigan Peninsula and produce tornadoes there as well. And of course, farther storms are possible to form farther east. So just because you're in the 2% risk in central Michigan doesn't mean a tornado isn't possible, or indeed a strong tornado. Focusing on the southern region now, you'll see storms start a few hours from now after sunset across Missouri and move into Illinois. Supercells are indeed possible across Illinois and Indiana, discrete supercells with potential for strong tornadoes, but the threat of strong to intense tornadoes, EF2 to EF3, maximizes as we get into the evening hours, 10 p.m., 11 p.m., midnight, maybe even 1 a.m., along that risk area running along the Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky border region. And the tornado threat may be maximized after that line of storm forms close to midnight. As you'll see, the storms stop being such discrete little blobs and it becomes more of a line. That isn't necessarily a good thing because we are likely to see embedded supercells. And in a situation such as this evening, the line can help those embedded supercells be based at the surface, tap into the lowest level of the atmosphere to produce tornadoes. There is the possibility that those earlier supercells are elevated and not able to produce significant tornadoes. Of course, a strong tornado is still possible with those storms, but the likelihood increases the farther east we go within that enhanced risk region, particularly once you get into Illinois and Indiana. And lastly, here's a quick reminder from the National Weather Service New Orleans. Severe weather possible overnight. Here are some things that you should do before you go to sleep. Make sure your cell phone is fully charged in case the power goes out. Make sure your wireless emergency alerts are turned on. That way, if a tornado warning or a dangerous thunderstorm warning is issued for your location, you will receive an alert. Hopefully it wakes you up. No weather radios are great. Once it's tuned to the correct local area, it'll make lots of noise, which is great for waking you up in the event that a dangerous severe weather event is moving towards your property. Trust me, it's much better to be awake and seeking shelter than to be woken up by a tree coming into your bedroom because it's been knocked over by a tornado, or worse, losing your roof entirely. Of course, you want to have a way to get to your safe place, which means you need shoes near your bed and have a light, either your phone light or a flashlight with fresh batteries. And lastly, please make sure everyone in your household knows where to go and what your tornado safety plan is. It's great to have a way to cover your head if you're getting down in the bathtub, put a mattress on top of it, put pillows, bike helmet, that sort of thing. Obviously, an underground basement is ideal, but if you don't have that, you want to be in the interior room with the most walls between you and the outside. If you don't have an interior room, go in a closet. That's great. And of course, you do not want to be in a car. You do not want to be under an underpass, and you do not want to be in a mobile home. All three of those locations are death traps in strong tornadoes. If it's at all possible, move into a sturdy structure until the tornado has passed. Pull over if you're on the highway and a tornado warning is issued for your location. Go into a gas station, go into a fast food restaurant, whatever's there, and take shelter until the storm has passed. Much better to be safe than on the road and gamble your life. It isn't worth it. So please try to be safe this evening. Thank you. And that's all for this video update. We hope that everyone stays safe across the Midwest and indeed the wider world this evening and through the rest of the night. Thank you once again very much for watching, and goodbye.